Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So joining up and starting this episode a little earlier than I had planned because I think I might have a little bit of a problem, but I'm going to have to get a little further to verify I do, and then to verify that what I think my plan B, which would now become my plan A, is going to be. So I'm going here to get some of the repairs done and fuel up, most importantly. So I did get fuel into this tank, so at this point we are good. Just had that delivered and so forth, so we at least can come to our farm and finally fuel things. But we were at 20% on the harvester. That thing is loud. Like, sounds the same inside as it does right next to it. Alright, so we're filling. I'm trying to remember, I think that was a 25,000 liter tank, so it should be good for a little while, even though this is going to take hundreds of liters, because harvesters are big. But at this point, I am going to be running over to field 77 to harvest, which is why I wanted to do all this and get it ready, because the last thing I want is to have to come back from there if I don't need to. So I'm going to be doing that for a bit this morning, and then we will jump in and I will update you on what I think is going on. Alright, I am back here. We are starting to plant. So I am going to quickly try to get out of the way here. So let me get connected to things, and then we'll have a bit of a chat of what is going on. So as I said, I ran into an unexpected issue, so definitely want to share it with you so you can learn from it, just as I did. I think it's going to be best to go this way, so let me go here. And again, let me just clear the field so that the planter or the seeder can just keep doing its thing. So as you can see, he just started right there. He's going ahead. All is as well as it can be. So I kind of jumped in, didn't really do the normal explanation. So this is called the VIP series because we're using the VIP order manager. If you're unfamiliar with it, this is kind of the main interface of it. So basically we've got orders that we need to fill. So we're working on level 4, it's the active level. We've got things in the future. So what I'm working on here is the meal, which we need 160,000 liters. So the test that I was doing, that I was talking about, was I wanted to see how much crop I would get off that field. I got about 70,000 liters of sorghum. So the problem that was occurring is the sorghum fills protein. I let this go for quite a while. The chickens were eating, but they weren't getting any health, and therefore there was no productivity. So I wasn't getting any eggs. So I've gone ahead and bought one bag of grain, of 1,000 liters of grain, to at least get them producing eggs. Because once again, we need 30,000 liters of eggs. That's not a little bit of eggs. I may end up having to decide to do something significantly different depending on what's happening, because I don't know how quick 47 chickens are going to produce that. I can't imagine it'd be exceptionally fast. But I also don't have a whole lot of places to put some giant chicken farm. So there's a little bit of a challenge there. But what that turned into is I need to grow some grain. So what I was trying to figure out is where is the best place to put things, because I don't want to plant. Initially my plan was just maybe plant the whole thing in meal. I'd have nothing else going on. But I'm going to grow some barley now too, because I need that. Well, I need chicken feed, and barley produces more per acre than wheat does. So I just am going for the effect that I need, which is give me as many liters as possible, as efficiently as possible. So we're heading over to field 22 because I jumped over to 77 to perform this test and get going early enough so that I could see. Because if I wasn't getting much off of that, I might have said, you know, I'll plant the barley over there, but I don't want to cart more than I need to over. So I figured, well, even though that won't get me all the meal I need, it will get me close enough, I think. Alright, so here's the field. So I'm going to go ahead and get moving on that, and we'll keep chatting real briefly here. Alright, so we're beginning to harvest this field. I've gone ahead here and swapped out tractors, because I need the heavy-duty tractor, the highest horsepower I have, to run that planting rig I've got. So this is my next highest. It's 100 horsepower less. I think it's 195 instead of 295. But hopefully it should be enough to bring grain back from a field that really isn't that far away, and where we're kind of here in the valley. We're not going up and down a lot of hills. So you can see kind of at the far corner there, not the light field, but the dark field. That's us. You can see kind of the cut in the ground. That's field 22, so not that far away. But my thought is, you know, I may plant all the other fields and I'll just do this field in barley. But maybe I'll do the opposite. Maybe I'll do the little fields in barley and do these two fields with meal, although I know all I get off of that field with meal is like 12,000 or something. So that is my concern, is I think I need more meal than I think I do, if that makes sense. I don't think the output is what we've seen on the sorghum, so I don't know that it's going to be a valid test, but at a minimum I'm like, I need a lot of it, so let me go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let's just at least empty a little bit. Well, it won't empty anything. It's going to start to unfold, but then it's going to get stuck, basically. Because I think, if I remember when I harvested this last time, I don't think it actually is able to get everything done here. But, again, the VIPs creating what I liked them to create here, which is making me think, making me try to figure out what the best way to do things is, because it's not always as simple as one would hope. Alright, I'm not quite sure which way it's gonna go here. I swear I like heard a truck or something. Oh, I see, that's just the cereal factory doing its thing as I swung around. Wait a minute. He cannot possibly be... Is he really out of something? Oh my goodness. Alright. So what I typically do here... there we go. I leave that on the field because I don't need it to go ahead and go refill things. So I need to go get fertilizer. So it used all the fertilizer up, and it's clearly going to need it more than once. So I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to keep harvesting, but that gets you up to speed of where things are at here, so you understand the situation. And I will continue working, and we'll be back at the next point when I've got to make some sort of decision, or that I start something new up again. So I will see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm going to try to get him empty so that he can keep going while we do the next thing, because I just realized pretty much almost as soon as I stopped, you know, I moved some things over here and there, certainly, but I realized very, very quickly that I had a different problem. So let's correct that with a little less negative view. I don't have a problem, I have an opportunity. So again, part of what I do with the VIPs is, like, what can I do to, as efficiently as possible, you know, keep working on things and keep things moving. Alright, he's pretty much empty. So, we need flour. Where's flour come from? A grain mill. We don't own one. We need to buy one. So the grain mill is down here. So let's head on down here and let's go talk to the guy. 96,000 euros. There we go. Now we own a grain mill. And now that we have a grain mill down here, that's what I thought. So I can get the most from oats, but at this point, I grew a ton of sorghum thinking I could feed my chickens, and I can't. So what I'm going to start doing is moving sorghum down to there, and that's why I wanted to do it while I was still working this field, because I thought, yeah, I'm still down in the area. So let me get myself full, so I'm at least taking a full load, but we have, you know, a couple 100,000 liters of sorghum or something, so again, I may just take what I need or a little bit of close of what I need, because there's a possibility I might need sorghum later, but right now I can do something with this sorghum, because the other problem I have is I think that silo only holds 350,000 liters. So if I fill it with 200,000 liters of sorghum and I don't use it for anything anytime soon, that's going to be a problem. So I've got all kinds of things that I have to consider here with the VIPs, but let me get filled up and let me get over to the grain mill. So I think, no, I think that's actually the olive mill. No, maybe that is the grain mill. But a lot of things going on over here. Wow, this is a tough little hill here with a load, with only a 195 horsepower tractor. So you can see we've got more vineyards here. This again, coming up, would be an area that maybe in the future, like once we get really far in and we've really had to add more things to the map to deal with the platinum requirements that the VIPs might ask for, this would be a big parking area or whatever you want to call it where we'd start to go next. So we'll see if the VIPs drive us in that direction or not. I'm a little surprised so far that we haven't seen any more complex things, but I'm sure they're coming. Alright, coming up on the grain mill, you can see there's even more vineyards here. So there are certainly grapes on this map if we suddenly needed them, but we're really only going to need them for raisins, so I think we'll be okay with what we've got. But at the complex here is where we've got things, and there's our new grain mill back there. How do I get there? Looks like I gotta go around to this area here and then come in through this direction, maybe? Yep. Looks like the road is here. Whoop. I'm gonna have to open the gate. I thought we had come here before, but I guess we have not. So, welcome to our grain mill. I'll get that thing renamed at some point here. But right now, I'm going to dump this in. And we need 48,000 liters of flour, so we're going to need more than this, but this will at least be a start. Alright, we're going to deactivate these, but we are going to go ahead and, you know, it's almost going to be 1 for 1. We're going to create a little bit more, so you know, oats create quite a bit more, so sorghum's actually probably my second best, because you can see the other grains, wheat and barley, I need more liters than I get out. Sorghum's still kind of a net positive. So, certainly not a bad thing. Wow, there's just not a lot of room to turn around here. Welcome to Europe. Specifically, welcome to Italy. You know, we've got a lot going on. We're going to have a lot more going on, I'm sure. It's part of the fun of this, is just meeting all those demands. But I'm going to get back here. We're going to take everything that Field 22 gives us and bring it over. I don't think I'm even going to get another full trailer out of it. There you go. AI workers completed their task. I'm pretty sure that's the harvester. I don't think it's my planter. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, the harvester's waiting, so the harvester may be full. So anyway, I am going to plant barley on at least a few fields. I'm just really a little leery of, do I want to do more than one field of barley right now, because I can always grow more, and it's not as if the chickens are eating at some insane rate. So I am just going to keep plowing along. I got tons of work ahead of me. I will see you in a bit. So, late night. Finishing the last piece up here. We are done here on field 1. I cannot get to that corner with my planter. I've tried. So you can see that little red unfertilized, it's also unplanted corner up there, because there's just a lot going on. But it's been a day of planting meal. So I have got every field except 22 planted with that. So I am going to stop for the night, and we will continue in the morning. Next day here, and I've gone ahead and just finished up putting barley in here in field 22. So at this point, I've got 6 fields planted in meal, 1 field planted in barley. Obviously anything else I own is grapes or olives or something, so those aren't going to change what they are. So I need to get this back toward the farm. And I've got a couple things I need to worry about, so I think I'm going to handle the planting one first. So let me get there. Alright, so I've got olives, tomatoes, and lettuce come out of the greenhouses, and those are going to take what they're going to take. I honestly haven't checked them in a while, so I may need to throw seeds or fertilizer in there. If I do, obviously I'll just get them going. If not, I'll likely be topping them off, but I think I've gone through a couple months with the planting where I haven't looked at them, so I think the tomatoes especially seem to use the fertilizer pretty quickly. So we'll worry about that, but you know, I think we've got a plan for everything there. The eggs, however, are a bit of a challenge. So if you look here, and I go and look at the pallet, this is literally how many eggs have been produced in months. Again, I only have 47 chickens, so that may be okay, but it just seems like this pasture, aside from being small, is also extremely unproductive, because I don't know. I mean, again, I think I bought them at maturity, which means they're 12 months, which means, you know, they've been here 2 months, and they've produced 246 eggs. So 30,000 is a long way from that. So I've got to think of what to do there, but that's the next challenge. The other one, again, I just planted the meal. I've got flour going with the sorghum. That's going to be the plan there, so I'm going to have to check into that in a bit. So we're turning the extra sorghum that we thought we could feed to our chickens into flour. So we've pivoted a bit, but made the best of what we've already produced and are taking what the land is giving us and having good results with it. But this alfalfa straw is the first piece that I knew would come eventually, and level 5 is what eventually is quantified at. So I have said from the beginning, field 10 was my target for the grass field, meaning alfalfa. So that means it is now time to go ahead and add this to the farm. So 198,000 euros and 10,000 to soil sample it, because I just do that instead of taking the time to do it myself within this series. So we're still at about 2.5 million, but I'm not gonna lie if I don't say I'm a bit nervous, because I've got a bunch of equipment that I'm gonna need to buy. Well, not a bunch. I have a baler already, but I'm gonna have to buy mower, windrower, tedder type of thing. But for now, we'll worry about what we need to worry about, and that is getting this field planted in alfalfa. We've got the seeds selected. Alright, so we're going ahead here. We're gonna start the planting. This should work. I'm gonna need fertilizer soon, I think. Yeah, you can see this requires an insane amount of fertilizer. And this may be something I typically let grass just do its thing, but I may, in this case, keep this field relatively fertilized. We'll see if I go touch up the edges. I'm sure I will, given what it is. I've been doing that more with crops anyway, but given that this is kind of going to regrow once I do it, it'd be kind of foolish to leave things sparse. So I've got some cleanup work to do here. But the good news is, oh no, there's a fence the whole way around separating us. I was going to say I could go right here and go get my fertilizer, but I can't. So this has got a bit of a hill. I mean, if we look at this, this is not a hill. So just the very nature of that, like, this is going to take some time. You can see we're going a whopping 4 kilometers an hour here. So I'm going to get this field planted in alfalfa, and we will see what time that means I'm done here. But at this point, I'm just kind of waiting for crops to grow and things to do in the greenhouses. I'm going to go check those greenhouses while this is working. But I will be back once this field is planted. We'll see where we're at as far as time of day, and if we're going to do anything today or if we're going to move on to another day. So I'll see you in a bit. Alfalfa field is planted. VIPs are definitely keeping me busy if I'm trying to just keep moving along here. So really liking this pallet increase mod here. You can see what the flour output here at the flour mill looks like. But we're also down to 1,000 liters. So I wanted to get this going before I figured out what I was going to spend my next bit of time doing. But what I don't want to do is have this flour mill back up. So we've got, what, 12? So we're going to get 24,000 liters at least. I don't know that this is going to go 3 pallets high here. But we're going to go at least that far. I want to make sure I don't hit the pallets. But yeah, I definitely thought that in this series that mod would be helpful. It's extremely helpful. I would highly recommend that if you're doing any kind of volume on any game you're doing, is go ahead and get that mod. But let me get back to the farm. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I need lime on that alfalfa field as well. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. So had the limiter on. We'll get that cleared, because at this point I'm not sure I need anything but lime in here. But as I've always enjoyed, the VIPs are challenging, to say the least. I think it's a well-balanced mod for the most part, the way it works. It definitely doesn't make it feel like things are impossible, and it keeps you busy and it keeps you focused on just making good progress, and again, progress with a purpose. So this will get this field producing. Alfalfa takes, I think it's the same cycle as grass. It's got a 3-cycle piece, so basically in 2 months I think it's going to be fully ready to go. We might be able to let it go another month to get more. It just really depends how often I want to go do things. Gone ahead and bought the one mower that exists as kind of the self-contained thing, which again is a 400,000 euro nearly expense. So we're down to just over 2 million euros here. And again, I don't have the windrowers, I don't have tedders and all that done. I'm sure this is going to take a good amount of lime, but the good news is we're right here by the farm. So there's multiple reasons I wanted this field if I was going to do any kind of grass to do things. And that was the proximity just to get supplies and things like that so that I'm not having to run around as much. You know, the benefit this all gives us, again, is any kind of bonus that we get from the system. Wow, this is struggling. It's another thing I am thinking about is, do I do something? Do I try to find a compact, large tractor and get myself above the 300 horsepower? These hills are challenging, as you can see. All I'm doing is hauling a spreader here. I mean, the good news is, because of precision farming, it's not just pouring out. Like, if this was regular Farming Simulator without that, I would lose the entire spreader on this hillside right here. So, just making sure that we don't have a problem there. But I am going to go ahead and get this limed, is what I'm doing now. And then what that does, you can see we've got 80, 84, 85, 82, 62, and again, some of these should hopefully increase as I go along. 82, these are 57, that one's 83. So, like, my average is 74, but that's giving me a 7% bonus to my sell prices at the times where I can achieve that. So that's not nothing, especially when we're selling a good amount of product all the time for the VIPs. So definitely feeling good about the progress, but to be transparent, kind of jump out of the role play a little bit of the series. There's a lot of work that goes in to these levels. I mean, I'm spending hours, I think, over the last things that I've been doing in this level. I may have spent 8 to 10 hours of game time getting things done, which is why you see me using a lot of automation like this, because it's challenging enough when I need to just run the tractor and pick things up, just to make it something that's reasonable and doesn't take forever. You know, I enjoy using the equipment, but I can do that for a little bit and not do it constantly. So I'm not at a point where I'm feeling like I need a challenge of, I'm just going to do a series without automation or something. And I think, you know, there's some purists that I think would love that. I just don't know that it's enough people to risk my sanity, frankly, for that. And again, there's folks that do that and love to do that and focus a lot of activity on their channels there. So I can't be all things to all people. I have to do what feels good and that I enjoy. Otherwise, I think it just would come across very poorly. Again, happy to hear people's feedback, happy to hear comments if you somehow think I'm off base, but that is what I am trying to do here. So I'm going to keep getting this field done, getting the lime going, and that may get me pretty close to the end of the day here. So, you know, again, a couple fields planted and fields prepped up to have the best output we can. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so at this point we're done. That field is limed. This field is growing sorghum, you can see, or meal, I'm sorry. Had sorghum on it before. So my big thing is, what do I want to do to increase my egg production? Not sure that this building is worth it, but I don't have a lot. Like I'd create a cliff if I did something too crazy. Plus we have, was this the manure heap? No. The manure is over at the other side, I think. I don't remember what we had there. Might have been a bunker silo. Because, yeah, the question is, I've got a really large chicken operation I can put in place, but there just isn't a lot of room here. And that would take out a lot of things. So I'm not sure yet, but at this point, you know, we're getting close to the end of the day. We're just waiting for things to grow. So I think that this is as good a time as any to wrap up this episode and say we've got things in pretty good shape, because otherwise I'm starting on something new, and then I'll be interrupting an episode in the middle of that just to try to avoid things getting too terribly long. So as always, you know, trying to get this series to spread, trying to get the channel to spread, and get more folks here and get more conversations going. So if you liked the video and haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it if you would. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd encourage you to do so. And you can also then hit the notification to get notified when I put new videos out. And with that, I will see you next time.